Well, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Metro Councilman Steve Glover is with us, and we're talking about, as you see, street vendors and public safety is the title we've got on our font there, and the phone number, your thoughts on it. He had an ordinance in place that would address some of these folks that sell items and make their way. It's a public safety issue for him. And it seems like it's not something that's going to go anywhere, at least now. What are your thoughts again? What can the state do if you take it to the state, your state lawmaker, instead of the Metro?
Well, I mean, here's the bottom line. In my councilmatic district, Central Pike, Old Hickory Boulevard are state roads, Lebanon Road, state roads. So, you know, if we need to shore this up and take language very similar to this to the state, you know, I'm working on that, because just because it gets defeated at the council doesn't make this go away.
Right.
You know, the problem we have in government is lack, and I'll just say it the way it is, lack of leadership. If we would step in here and deal with this issue and find a solution, then we could help shore it up and clean it up. And it makes everything overall better. But we think by just letting it go or taking an easy path, the path of least resistance, then this goes away. It doesn't go away. It has literally mushroomed and gotten worse and worse. That's why when people talk about, you know, a particular newspaper, I'm like, if you will actually count the number of people out there doing that particular newspaper versus the number of people standing in the streets and walking out into the streets and everything else, that particular group is really not the issue.
It's not the issue. Okay, let's go to Paul. Paul, good morning. Hi, Paul.
Good morning, Nick. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
You too, Paul. You too.
Well, Lord have mercy. I've been listening to this gentleman talk, and I respect his opinion and everything, but I've been starting to get like a bull in a china shop here, waiting on to get on his phone.
Okay.
Look, Nick, I respect the gentleman's opinion, but comparing Nashville and Brentwood, my God, that absolutely don't fly with me. Comparing Brentwood to Nashville is not a good comparison. That's like some of the other conservative the friends that I go back with that's comparing crime in Atlanta, Georgia to Franklin, Tennessee. Well, that don't fly with me neither. All right? Look, Nick, I don't want to drag politics into this, but I believe that this gentleman here is bringing this ordinance up. You know, he's saying that panhandling and stuff like it is an epidemic in Nashville, Tennessee. That is not, Nick. I've been to major cities all over this country. You have panhandlers in major cities all over this country, and it's not no worse in Nashville, Tennessee than all over this country. Now, look, I'm all for public safety. I'm all for public safety. I was trained in safety my whole life. I want the people of Nashville, Tennessee to be safe driving, and the people working on the side of the streets to be safety. But it is not a epidemic of safety in this. This is fear-mongering, and it's not happening. I guess I'm assuming that we need to build a wall around Nashville, Tennessee, Nick, like the president wants to do, to keep panhandlers out of Nashville, right? Look, those guys, those people out there, and the good council member there said, well, there's jobs everywhere. If they want a job, they can go get a job. No, sir, that is not the case. You do not know what those people, mental issues they have, disabilities they have, they trying to survive. Yes, some of them do take advantage of that. I'm not saying that they don't, but you can't say that those people can just go get a job. That was terrible for him to say that.
Well, in fairness, that's not what he was saying. He was saying that there are a lot of jobs out there right now, and when the economy slows, he thinks that we may end up seeing more people on the streets. But you were not saying these people on the sides of the roads should go. And I understand how you might have misconstrued that a bit, Paul. Yeah. But yeah, I think Paul's take, and he's passionate about it, is that these people are trying to get by, and this is the way they're able to do it. And they may have issues that don't allow them to get jobs, and there are jobs. And so they worry that an ordinance like yours will hurt them.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that. But again, see, we're trying to make this a conservative and a liberal issue. It's a city issue. And I'm a conservative. I've never shied away from that. But that, believe me, that's not what drives this. What drives it is I had somebody killed in my councilmatic district that was in the streets. Now, people can say whatever they want to about me. I'm a tough guy. I'm in politics. I get it. But at the end of the day, there was a person in the Old Hickory area that was driving the car that hit them. There was a person that got killed. There was a business right down the street that hauled the cars and everything else. And this is an issue. And pretending like it's not doesn't make it go away.
All right, let's go next to James. James, good morning. Hi, James.
Yes. Like I'm tuning in late and I missed most of your conversation. But I would like to know, is one group of people better than another group of people? I want to make a few points. What I'm saying is that in Madison, Tennessee, on Old Hickory Boulevard, which is supposed to be a state road, like the gentleman said, FOP, Fraternal Order Police, annually they solicit for Christmases, and they stand right in the middle of the road. I mean, not on the side of the road, but right in the middle of the road, and solicit funds. And so, are they any better than the one that's standing on the corner? My next point, Nashville does have a dangerous, walking in Nashville can be dangerous, period. They put up thing on Harding Place and Nolensville Road, that crosswalk, and the crosswalk would, I've seen this, I mean, it looked like Christmas out there when people about ready to cross, and people are still violating that crosswalk. And my third point is, I live in Europe, and a crosswalk would be a natural place for you to stop. But Nashvillians, or a lot of people in similar cities, they don't recognize that as the right of way for people. And even the bus stop, when the bus stop and put the sign out, or any crosswalk is not recognizable. And what I want to say is that I think that people need to be educated. I think that the news services should give out PSAs, public service announcement, and say, hey, you need to stop at these bus stops. I think you need to stop at these crosswalks.
I'll tell you what, James, it's on James Robertson Parkway right here, Bicentennial Mall, there are these crosswalks. And in a way, even you have to realize sometimes you see these crosswalks and someone standing there waiting. Typically, you expect flow of traffic comes first, but these are set crosswalks. And I know when I see someone standing there, I stop, and they're yelling. It's marked very, but I see folks shooting through there all the time. And, the pedestrians sit there and wait. But whenever I see someone there, I stop, and you're supposed to. He's right about educating drivers as well. All right? I think I know what you're going to say about FOP or anyone else. Your ordinance would apply to everyone. It doesn't matter the cause, everybody, right? Because he's right. I don't know if I've seen the FOP, but I've seen very legitimate organizations like the Contributor. Sometimes not the Contributor so much; they're on the side, but other groups collecting money for good causes, and they are sometimes literally in the intersection. Waiting. Maybe it's during the holidays and they're collecting, they've got buckets or whatever, and I was thinking to myself, well, now, just because it's this cause, they don't get a free pass.
That's right. No. The bill was written as a public safety bill. It does not single out any one business, any one cause, any one nonprofit, anything. It literally would apply across the board.
Okay, and your thought just about educating drivers. It almost seems like if they're not going to address what your issue is here, drivers need to almost be educated on this when they take their driver's test about obstacles in the road, right?
Well, I mean,
can you imagine?
And again, I'm not going to make people happy with what I'm going to say, but it's just the way it is. Good luck. Good luck. How do you reach everybody today? Between the tweets and the social media, the news outlets, the newspapers, how exactly do you do that today? It's a complicated world.
Yeah.
It's like if I go back, and if you were a council member 20 plus years ago, it was the telephone. You got hit. Today, it's the telephone, it's Instagram, it's tweeting. I mean, it is just.
Well, there's more vehicles than ever before to reach more people, which isn't a bad thing. You know how you learn? You learn by personal experience driving and having a close call and going, whoa, I'm going to remember that one, slow down next time.
Hopefully we do.
Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go to Mark. Hi, Mark. Good morning, Mark.
Hello.
Hey, Mark, go ahead. What's your thought?
No, well, I agree with the councilman there that it's a public safety issue and things need to be done. If it's organizations that are registered and recognized, such as fraternities or charities, that's understandable. But we have a problem with panhandlers and the tourists across the city, particularly at the Concord Nolensville Road, the Old Hickory Hollow exit, and the TA exit. They're always out there. They're obviously not vendors, which I have my opinion on most of these vendors. But the next point is, as they said, you can't punish them because what are you going to do? Put them in jail. However, you can hold the people who are enabling them accountable. But now it becomes a big debate. How do you discourage legitimate vendors or charities from raising funds? But when people are giving money to these people on the corner, it's like giving alcohol to an alcoholic. You're enabling the process. You're discouraging it. The old Baptist problem: God helps those that helps themselves. I'll help any man or woman. But my dad was a product of the Depression, and he said charity is a noble thing, but blind charity is an evil thing. And I had 2 stray dogs. Gave them a little food, they never went away. The most expensive 3 dogs I ever had in my life. But the point is, when these people are enabling, especially when Subway 200 yards down the street is advertising for help for $10, $12 an hour, but they'd rather sit on their hind end and collect money on a corner. I mean, something needs to be done, but people are enabling it. I think it's a public safety. They don't have a right to risk their safe and my liability when I'm driving on the highway.
All right. Well, there's someone who sees it himself, and it's a concern. Look, hey, you can call me an enabler. I've given money before to this. I've been caught behind traffic sometimes where the lights changed green and they're still in the middle of a transaction, and you miss the light because they have to finish it up. So, do you pretty much agree with what he said?
Well, I mean, he and I are aligned pretty much so on what we're talking about. This is a safety issue, and you just said it yourself. If they're in the middle of the road doing a transaction, then they're not on the sidewalk, they're not on the curb, they're in the middle of the road.
Right.
And so what happens is there are no consequences. We've just got to find a solution, and I always believe that the way to find solutions is to throw out what I think is a solution to a problem. If people disagree with me, we should at least talk it through, because I think we've cheated ourselves by not dealing with this over the last few years. In my opinion, we've got 2 jobs to do in Nashville as a city government, or Brentwood, or Franklin, or Hartsville, or Lebanon, or Mount Juliet, or wherever. That city government's responsibility is public safety and education. After that, we worry about everything else. This is clearly a public safety issue. So we talk about police, we talk about fire and all of that. We talk about teachers, but this goes clearly to the public safety aspect of what we should be doing as a city.
We'll take a break. When we come back, our final segment, Tony and others, if you have a thought on this, getting some good, interesting calls, we'd love to hear from you. We'll be back. The number's on the screen right after this.